feel like Gordon Bombay would have taken his career to even further heights.
Everything's flashy, everything's cocaine, everything's
Fun.
Open wide for some soccer!
I don't care what your personal thoughts are at home. I care that you hate the
Call
Cowboys.
this college rule!
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Experience Podcast. I am Chris. This is Dom. This is just two comics talking sports, having fun. We're at the end of a block series of episodes, which is Brett Favre's backup quarterbacks, and we're finally on to the last episode, which is Brett Favre.
Which
hey,
is
man,
perfect.
Cheers.
Hey, sláinte.
We're having a little of the, this is Engel Studio whiskey right here,
It is.
so... I'm a little girl. All right. We're having fun up here.
Oh, man. You want to start us off?
Talking about the Dongslinger. I don't have when he was born because you always start with that.
Well,
so give it to me.
So Brett Fontaine de la Tour Favre.
God, that's so good.
No, it's Brett Lorenzo Favre, born October 10th, 1969 in Gulfport, Mississippi. He's actually a descendant of Simone Favre, who is an important interpreter in the southeastern United States with the Choctaw tribe.
I saw that.
And he is a descendant
Yep.
of which, and we'll get into later, why he didn't open a casino with Shady, I don't know, is...
There were certain paths that he could have taken post-career.
Yes.
Just saying.
Certain
bit of
paths.
Yep. Bit of some weird ones, which I love. But, yeah, bit of a rough dad.
Bit of a rough dad, Irv. Mom Benita, raised in Kiln, Mississippi. Read some stories about growing up where grew up with his three brothers. Basically like Bobby Boucher, essentially. Like that's what the environment was around him. Talked about his dad where he said there was a lot of hard work, a lot of spankings, yellings, but that's the way we grew up.
Well, I saw an interview with his dad because his dad's was a high school football coach
Yes.
and was like pretty well known in their area. And he just said, yeah, I was never a stranger to a belt with them, and was just so middle of the road with it where it was like, what do you mean you don't beat the shit out of your kids? And that's how and Brett Favre said this was he would get excited when his dad would have to stay late for football practice and wouldn't come home.
Oh, right.
Because he was just like, I don't know what kind of guy is going to be coming in through the door.
I'm just playing duck hunt right now and not taking a beating.
Exactly.
His parents were both teachers, and Brett, like all of our athletes, fantastic at a lot of sports.
Five sport athlete where I saw that, I think it was 8th grade.
Yep.
He was playing high school baseball.
And please agree with me on this one. He would have been Kenny Powers if he stuck to
my
baseball
God.
with his arm. Like, I mean,
my God.
Oh, I'm going to the Yankees. You mean you know what, York?
Yep. No, seriously. He would have been, God, we miss out on some things, you know?
He would have been a stud closer, just throwing straight gas.
Yep.
But in 8th grade, you're already playing varsity baseball. That's insane. He was like that kid in Rookie of the Year without a broken arm.
Oh, I know.
Just funky butt loving.
Funky. I was just going to say that. It's my favorite line for that entire movie. It is so out of place for a Disney movie. He hits the doctor with his rehabilitated arm, and his doctor just goes, funky butt loving.
Did he say funky butt loving?
God, it's so good.
In addition to baseball, though, and as we all know him from, fantastic football player.
Yes.
But in high school, his dad's his coach, and his dad, instead of saying, I want to showcase my son, Brett had even commented he treated him worse than everybody on the team. He said they had good running backs. He wanted to run their wishbone. And if you are having Brett Favre throw it less than 5 times a game, that's like a man in a porno with a 15-inch cock working the boom mic.
And I'm so glad you brought this up because I found this to be so interesting, was his dad literally said, I knew he could throw the ball. We weren't questioning that. My thing was, and this was his dad coaching this high school football team, he just goes, we had 16 wins over the 2 seasons that he was starter.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you complain? And then just as a, like, you see how, like, guys are, like, really, like, pushed to be, like, college football stars is, like, they showcase them as, like, this is what he could do.
Oh, the parents. Yeah, like,
Yes.
look at my son. And he's like, I'm about winning games.
Yes.
Fuck you, son.
And he averaged 5 passes a game. So just to like put it in perspective, he did play both sides of the ball. So he played linebacker,
Lineman, strong safety,
that's what it was. He played strong safety. He was the place kicker,
punter,
just
like the flying Hawaiian, David Kalaiki Ali'i.
My wife's Polynesian. Oh my God!
But he's country strong, like Steve McNair.
Yes,
we are going to go into some stuff where we poke a lot of fun at Brett Favre. But one thing you can't take away from him: he is one of the toughest SOBs out there.
One of the toughest, and his arm strength. That's so. We're still in high school right now. Mississippi State has a recruiter coming out, or I think it was one of their assistant coaches.
Southern Miss.
Yes. I'm sorry, Southern Miss. And literally, he was like watching Brett be the quarterback, and he was just like, yeah, I've only seen this guy shuttle pass. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I've seen him do. And then this is literally what he said. He just goes, I saw him pass the ball one time, and I was like, he's going to be our quarterback.
He said the ball had smokes and flames coming off it.
Yep.
And I mean, if there was a mullet there too, I bet you it would be. Came up to him after the game and was like, do you understand the difference between velvet and velveteen? Like a gentleman.
Like a gentleman. Oh, my God. What's that called again? The Southern gentleman. You know that
The dandy.
The dandy. Oh, that's what I was looking for.
I'm a dandy, too.
I'm a dandy, too. He throws all the clothes out of the window. God, I love that.
At halftime, I'll give room service a jangle and send up some etouffee. No!
God, it's such a great episode.
So good.
So just to reiterate, his dad didn't push him at all. He is a very low recruit for Southern Miss, but he still comes in with a scholarship.
Yeah, and a lot of teams, including Southern Miss, like he was being recruited, but he was being recruited as a DB.
Yes.
Almost like Steve McNair, because he's about the same size as him. He's like 6'2", 200 pounds, where you're like, if we put this kid at strong safety, he is, and Brett Favre, tough as nails, he would light people up.
And it's one of those things where you see that he is an exceptional athlete, and they're just like, we just need him on our team, and we'll figure it out from there.
Exactly. And for a school like Southern Miss, you're like, this type of athlete is coming into our program?
Yep.
Like, we're not in the SEC. I think they're still a D1 independent at this point.
Actually, they're in the mountain this time.
All those Mississippi Rockies.
All the reassessment of all the teams. They play in the Mountain West now. But yeah, it's such an interesting beginning from him, because it really is his athleticism, his size, all of that pushes him to be like, no, we're going to figure out where you're going to play. We get that you want to play quarterback, but they really wanted him to be on the defense.
Yeah, it's like, we'll let you decide on quarterback when you show up on the depth chart.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because Brett, to his credit, does not start as like this top, 4 or 5 star recruit at the top of the depth chart as a freshman. He's way down.
What I saw was, because especially in the beginning when they're going through like training and shit, they have a ton of guys trying out. They said that when they posted him, he was the 7th quarterback.
So he was actually behind Michael Jackson, who had played a long time for the Browns and Ravens as a receiver. The reason that Michael Jackson turned into a receiver is because of this.
You're going to tell me why Michael Jackson went from black to white?
Blanket, my wishing
blanket,
tree.
No.
That's ignorant. This
is just ignorance.
So he's 7th on the depth chart.
Thank you.
But he's like 2nd or 3rd string by the time the regular season starts. September 19th, 1987.
Their third game.
They're playing Tulane there. And they're playing Tulane, and he has a bit of a Bobby Lane moment in this game. I don't know if you read anything about that.
So there was 2 reports I saw, and one was from him. The report I saw was he drank all the night before and he was hungover. The thing I saw him say was, we drank all the night before, and then we aired the dog, put a little hair of the dog on us, and we were drinking that morning. That's literally what he said.
Can you really enter a game, though, as a backup when your BAC is below 0.2?
Thank you.
I mean,
it's a legitimate question for Southern colleges.
You don't think Tom Brady was taking poppers after Drew Bledsoe's chest exploded? I think not.
So he's a little drunk, a little hungover, and he said the coach looked at him and he goes, "Are you ready for the second half?" And he was like, "Are you fucking kidding?" Because he literally was like, "I thought I was going to throw up from just being hungover and a little drunk." And then he asked me to go in, and I was like, "Oh, I'm nervous as hell."
Like my warm-ups are bending over the trash can,
Yes.
not actually doing stretches. But hey, he goes in the game and they end up beating Tulane.
And he looks really good.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I feel like coming out of high school, people just didn't respect his arm strength and his ability as a quarterback. He also was a little bit stupid.
Well, obviously, we're going to discuss.
Hey, I'm just saying, some guys have unbelievable football knowledge. He did not.
No, oh, not at all. He literally relied on his balls and his arm.
So when he was, and this is just flashing forward because I feel like we need to, I can't remember if it was when he was on the Falcons or the Packers, where he was in a team meeting and they were like, and then we're going to switch to the nickel.
Yes, because that's Ty Detmer, the one that. Oh, yes.
I have to bring this up right now because
That's why I saved it from the Ty Detmer one.
So ridiculous. He looks at Ty and just goes, "What the hell are they talking about with the nickel?" And he literally like explains what that formation is, and he goes, why are we even calling it anything?" Like he didn't understand why we would call it something different.
Do you know what makes me mad about that? And then it is like such is life, right? Ty Detmer, the most knowledgeable guy, as we brought up
Yes.
in that episode.
Yes.
A coach's kid, understanding coverages, getting by on guile and intelligence, probably looking at him like a 4-year-old Ralph Wiggum eating paste like 5. It's 5 defensive backs. Like, I don't care. God bless your arm. Like, what the hell?
But that's literally, for me, that's like the most Brett Favre moment is he could fucking literally throw through his ignorance. That's the only thing I
That should
can
be his
say.
Hall of Fame plaque. He threw through his ignorance.
Because God, he had a cannon on him.
He's Kenny Powers, right?
He's Kenny Powers.
I mean,
yes.
we're literally discussing football as Kenny Powers.
Yes.
So he ends up becoming the starter after that because obviously, like everyone's like, well, there's no one on this depth chart this good. They finished the year 6-5, has 15 passing touchdowns, which is fantastic. Southern
First time ever he had passing touchdowns in his career.
I know, right?
That's
like in
the
high
thing.
school.
Yes.
Do you think he ever went home and like baked his dad a cake and said, maybe we throw it 7 times?
Yeah, no, seriously though, because his dad would run it so much that nobody knew what a great quarterback he was. Coming into Southern Miss, it was literally like, who the hell is this guy?
Right? And they're just like, yeah, you throw the ball every single time.
Yep.
Like, so in 88, which I believe actually is his best aggregate season.
His junior.
No, his sophomore.
Oh, his sophomore year.
His
yeah.
sophomore year, they go 10-2. Their only losses were to number 10 Florida State and then number 9 Auburn. So I think that year Auburn did win the SEC. I could be wrong, but they were a great team. And then Florida State, this is Dion is there.
Yep.
He actually picked sixed him in the game.
Yep.
They have a high-scoring offense. He had a career-high 56% completion percentage, 2,200 plus passing yards, and 16 touchdowns. And they actually won the Independence Bowl against a really good UTEP team where you're thinking, like, this guy's going to get drafted, and he's going to get drafted high, even though he's from a smaller school.
But this is my thing, too, because nobody's looking at him coming into college. Now this sophomore year and next his junior year, people are looking at him like, oh, he has all the potential.
You're like Steve McNair, like, thank God you didn't play defensive back.
No, seriously, though, because
it's crazy, right?
He was too stupid to play. He had to play quarterback. That's the thing. You put your stupidest guy at the quarterback position.
When you spell knowledge with an N at the beginning.
I don't get that joke. That's
You're
how
working.
it's spelled.
Anyway.
I don't get that. God damn, that's good. So I wanted to say, because junior year, because
Junior year out the gate is almost like Ty Detmer junior year.
I wanted to say this because sophomore year they lose to Florida State. Next year they come back, they beat Florida State, who was ranked 6th. And that was one of the things that they were saying was like, he's up for big games, as well as because you don't know these guys coming out of high school who didn't really play in like the spotlight as big as like you'd think.
Well, when you look at guys who go to these smaller schools, Ben Roethlisberger is a good example. Like, it's not where you go.
Oh, a Steelers, a great example.
Well, go, Chris. It's a great example because when you look at these college quarterbacks and how well they do, you don't look at, some douchebag like Gino Toretta surrounded by all pros, future all pros. You can look at derp-face Eli Manning too at Ole Miss.
All right.
You raise the talent around you.
Eli didn't
But he
have
gives hope to the specials, Chris.
He didn't have the same text messages. We can't group him in. Ben and fucking Brett had the same text messages.
They had similar text messages. It's just Brett, as we'll discuss later, makes Ben look like a Mormon. Anyway.
Seriously, though, it's not,
God.
Amazing football player.
Amazing football player.
Huge piece of shit.
Trash person. Amazing football player. Trash person. Anyway, September 2nd, as you alluded to, they lost the year, or in 1987, 61-10 to Florida State.
Yep.
That was the worst loss in school history. And they run it back with Brett. They win the game. He throws a game-winning touchdown pass with seconds left.
And it's not like Florida State dropped off like this is a rebuilding year. They were literally ranked 6th when they beat them.
This is like almost the ascent of the program. So like we did the Charlie Ward episode where it was like when they're finally at the top.
Yep.
This is when it's like, all right, we are recruiting on the same level as Miami of this era.
Yes.
Where it's like, you upset fucking Florida State and Jack. They moved the game actually from Hattiesburg in Mississippi.
Because it was,
But, I mean, that's amazing that they played at the Gator Bowl. He had 2 touchdowns, 282 yards passing. And I did want to add on that last drive, he led a 6-minute, 23-second drive. Or a 6+ minute drive within 23 seconds. They threw the winning touchdown pass.
Well, I want to bring this up because it's such a thing where quarterbacks who know how to control the clock and win at the end are such an important and valuable thing to teams. And he really, really understands this. And this was like the first time in which you see it where you're like, oh, yeah, he's more of like the captain of this ship than just like a drunk.
No, I know. Like a Blackbeard.
Amazing football player.
Yeah. I feel like that's just going to be the whole episode. Amazing football player, tough as shit. What the hell are you doing?
Literally has like a Cal Ripken Jr. type record where he is such a fucking good football player.
You know who's right behind, like I won't say right behind him, but who was second until he got benched for Geno Smith for most consecutive starts? Eli Manning.
Oh, yeah. Bench for Geno, too.
Bench for Geno in New York.
But I think he was still like 100 starts off.
Yeah, no, he was he was 200 plus, but not where we're going with Favre.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they end up losing their next 4 games because they're playing SEC and Southwest Conference opponents. They finish 5-6. Favre has a great year. Like he's on the map as one of the best,
Southern
Miss
yeah.
entering his senior season.
Yep.
Like everyone's like, well, they're 5-6 because they're fucking Southern Miss.
Yep.
And they actually, unlike a lot of schools who were independents at that time, including schools that made like Alliance Bowl and played for national championships, they would nut up. Granted, it was to fund their football program, but like they would play real teams.
Yes.
Like that's the thing with Favre. It's like, well, they lost by 20, but they could have lost by 80.
Yes, I was going to say, because they play some of the best teams in the South and the East at that time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but leading into Brett's senior season.
All right, let's get a shot on this one.
Let's get a shot on this one because it is badass that he does come. Well,
no, I wanted to say this because might have been drinking a little bit.
Well, I was waiting for that.
Might have had a couple of beverages.
We're both not driving.
We're not, that kind of guy, but he definitely got into a car accident, ripped this shot.
All righty.
I'm a man.
I'm 40. Come at me. I'm Mike Gundy.
So he gets in a pretty ridiculous accident. He flips his car. It's pinned up against the tree. his brother comes because it's like a mile or
Yeah, it's pretty close to their home.
Yeah, it's like
They're
less than a
killing.
mile from his home. His brother comes with a golf club, breaks out the window, and like pulls him out.
That's so bad. That's like a Casey Jones rescue from Ninja Turtles.
Dude.
Just taking out sports. Like, he'd be like, Brett would be like, oh, my Jose Canseco bat.
You can't understand cricket until you understand a crumpet. That's what I need you guys to understand about this podcast.
Damn it.
That's the thing.
Oh, God.
What are you, some sort of punk rocker? God, I
Some sort
love
of
that.
punker.
It's so good.
Oh. My mom, like, as a gag gift, bought me a Casey Jones figurine like 2 years ago for Christmas.
Gag gift, maybe the greatest gift ever.
Oh, it's on my desk right next to my laptop.
She didn't understand how important that was.
Very important. So anyway, July 14th, 1990, he's involved in a very serious car accident. His car flipped 3 times. And one of the craziest things was, and I get why he said this, he was asking his mom, will I ever play football again? Because if you're Brett Favre, that's really all you got going for you.
It was like Varsity Blues.
It really was. Like, he's Lance Harbor, you know?
And they were like, will I ever play again, mama? They were like driving to the hospital, and that was like the whole conversation.
But
he's like bleeding.
I mean, on the way to the hospital, though, Chris, they had to stop at the local strip club to see the fucking health teacher.
That's so true.
Give it a 10!
I give it a
10!
10.
So what ends up happening, do you want to get into what ended up
I was going to
happening?
say, they had to take out 30 inches of his small intestine, and he really was, and he said this when he came back and put on his uniform, he was like, it felt like somebody gave me like the next size up, where I was like, oh, I lost like 20 pounds of muscle mass.
He lost 45 aggregate pounds
Yep.
in total, which is just like, granted, he's about 200, maybe 210 pounds, depending on how much he's drinking or eating that week.
Hey,
But
we've all been there.
you're down 45 pounds. That's still a twig in these times for
Yes.
college football as a quarterback, despite your height. He sits out week 1 against Delta State because, you know, you could have a JV girls volleyball team beat Delta State. But September 8th, 1990, they play Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And mind you, this is an Alabama team 2 years later, which won a consensus national championship.
I think they were ranked like 8th or something. They were a really great Alabama team.
13.
13,
Yeah.
okay.
And my God, that was I mean, if he had just done his regular off-season routine, you know, plowing through Checkers waitresses in the dumpster, because it's not Wendy's, it's
Hey.
the South.
Great fries.
Great fries.
That's what people don't tell you about Checkers. Some of the best fries.
some of the best fries, some of the best fellatio outside of a dumpster as well. But he ended up
He would do this thing with the bun.
Yes,
he
I was
would
waiting
roll
for
it into a ball.
We're not working with a really deep bench here, Chris.
This is what we got, guys.
Anyway, if he had gone into it with his normal off-season routine, it would be like, well, yeah, I mean, he's capable of something like this. But
Yep.
with the car accident and everything else, and like I said at the beginning, you can't take away this dude's toughness.
No, seriously, though.
Comeback 27-24 win. Alabama's coach, Gene Stallings, said, you can call it a miracle or a legend or whatever you want to. I just know that on that day, Brett Favre was larger than life.
Yep.
What more can you... He might not have even played football again. Most normal people would have been like, well, not everything's there.
Yeah.
Like,
No, seriously. And he came back quick, and this is to his... Really, to what kind of football player he was and what his kind of dad kind of grew him up as he was very like, I'm going to play every single time I have a chance. And we see that in the NFL because he plays through so much shit.
when his dad, or he was talking about how his dad would be like, unless we need to come and get you, you stay in the game.
Yes,
Like,
unless
you
we need
to
to-
be crawling
Yes.
to, you know, like, you're going to play like Anthony Richardson. Take notes, Sally.
Because no, seriously, his dad was like, unless we need to pull you off, like carry you off the field, then you're still going to play. And that's what you just said. But it's such a thing where you look at his NFL career and you're like, oh, I get that now.
Oh yeah, it was literally the South's version of the Willis Reed finals game. Like that's what it was.
They wheeled him back out in a wheelchair.
He had a beer in his hand.
That's true,
as is tradition.
Actually, it's something I found interesting that he said after the hangover drunk game. He was like, "I never drank before," and he has like some problems later with drugs, and he was just like, I've because of that game, I never took drugs before or drank ever again since that first Southern Mississippi game.
Well, yeah, because that's a wake-up call. Like, oh man, this would be so much easier. Like, I did a no booze October. I was just thinking, like, my life went from all Madden to rookie mode.
Oh yeah,
like just. Oh my God,
that's weird because I doubled up on my booze in October, and I was wondering why I did that, but now I get it. You know, just like, dude, they were like just a beer, and I was like 2. Actually,
pour one out for him. Oh shit!
Drinking from my pregnant wife over here.
Oh God! So anyway, he did upset Auburn that year too.
Yep.
15, ranked 15, 13-12. They go to the All-American Bowl and end up losing. But that season, despite and granted, these statistics are a dude coming off a car accident, playing at Southern Miss. It's not like he's lighting it up. And we'll discuss the '91 draft like a guy that I saw and had so much hope for. Just so much. He was the first college quarterback I ever got to watch. But anyway, he has just over 1,500 yards and 7 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. But this 1991 draft that he's entering has a lot of quarterbacks in it, but are guys that you would pick like 15 down, not like an elite type of draft.
Yeah, they're not number 1 quarterbacks, but there's a lot of backups getting picked. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys with potential. There's like, and he is one that is on a couple of teams' radar.
I would just be so interested to be a scout at this time to like put him through a workout because it's not like today where you can pull up anything on YouTube. You're scouting Southern Miss, but then you put him in a workout and you just see that arm.
Yep.
And you're just, sweet Jesus, Eli Manning it, buddy.
No, seriously, because his arm was just so strong. It was, yeah.
So entering this draft, there are a number of quarterbacks, like I said. Dan McGuire at San Diego State. Mark McGuire's brother.
Yep.
He was 6'8", if you can believe it. Watch him throw passes at San Diego State. Don't watch him with the Seattle Seahawks. It's a dumpster fire.
It's bad.
Todd Marinovich at USC, we mentioned a couple times on this podcast. And Browning Nagel at Louisville. Call me a dick, but doesn't Browning Nagel just sound like a sex move you don't do?
Oh, my God. It's so the Dirty Sanchez of
My
the South.
lady gave me the worst Browning Nagel last night. It was so messy. There was so much Browning.
My shoulder still hurts. What?
God. Oh, it's just venereal disease. Anyway, I just feel like 2 Brownings, 1 Nagel would be a good.
Oh, my God.
At least according to Jets fans, and oh boy, we'll get into this part here related to this draft.
I don't want to ruin your childhood, but did you know that 2 Girls, 1 Cup was actually staged?
It wasn't improv. It wasn't a yes and.
The old frozen custard in the butt trick.
That is.
Fool me once, come on me. Am I right? I actually do that joke on stage. That's why it was so right there, ready to go.
Fool me twice, Browning my Nagel.
Browning my Nagel. Am I right, boys?
Jesus, tap dancing Christ.
So he's drafted 33rd by Atlanta Falcons. Who was 34th?
So before I get into that, I just wanted to say, if you want to reference further episodes, the 91 draft is the Rocket Ishmael one where he didn't show up.
Yeah.
So this was Russell Maryland at the top, the Cowboys building their dynasty, but this is we'll bring up the other guy. There are only 2 Hall of Famers in this draft. It wasn't like a particularly
strong
type of year. So the Falcons are drafting 33rd. Ken Herrock, their general manager, absolutely loved Favre.
Yep.
All the workouts he put him through, all the offensive coaches for the Falcons were like, they had actually 2 first-round picks that year. They fucked up by picking Bruce Pickens 3rd, and then they picked Mike Pritchard the wide receiver from Colorado.
Yeah.
After that, so but I think they got the sense that because McGuire was like in the late teens for Seattle, to where they were like, we could actually wait because our second round pick is super high.
Yeah, they were 33rd, so they were.
I think by the time they picked Pritchard, they knew exactly who would be there. But like you said, the 34th pick was the New York Jets.
Yep, and the Jets were really, really high on him.
So their general manager, Ron Wolf, was like obsessed with Brett Favre. Saw the talent, saw the potential, like more than probably, I would argue, at the beginning of his career, like leaving Hattiesburg, I would argue no one saw more potential in Brett, including himself, his dad, anybody, than Ron Wolf.
Yeah.
Like he was, and we'll get into why later, very obsessed with Brett Favre. And you know what? They just Browninged all over their Nagel with the 34th pick. Oh my God. Browning Nagel, if you ever listen to this, I just want to give you a hug, sir.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so 33rd pick, he's selected by Atlanta. ESPN's telecast had the guy announcing his name as Brett Favre.
I know.
Not
Beautiful.
Brett Fontaine de la Tour da Favre.
Which is actually his name.
The Brett Dozer. My wife's Polynesian. Alrighty. Let's take this before I
Let's do one more.
lose my shit.
Oh, we're losing our shit.
Anyway. So he goes to Atlanta. They're a very shitty team.
And this is also when front office and coaching staffs aren't really on the same page.
Yeah.
So front office, GM wanted Brett Favre. They were like, look, this guy's going to be amazing. Coaching staff saw him and was just like, who the fuck is this hick?
Well, part of the reason, well, I mean, that's perfect, which
Yeah.
some of them said. What's perfect about this, though, the coaching staff, led by Jerry Glanville, he just got axed in Houston for all those disasters. Listen to that 93 Oilers episode to hear about Jerry Glanville. But what ended up happening was Chris Miller was drafted in the first round of 1987.
Yep.
Chris Miller later, and that's 1991 season, proved to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. Jerry Glanville's all about defense. His entire history is he was actually the defensive coordinator when they weren't shit after Norm Van Brocklin in the 70s.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Ritz Blitz defense. He's all about just,
Defense wins games.
defense and being a dirty asshole. Love you, Jerry. But anyway, they were just, no, we don't want this guy. We have Chris Miller. What the hell are we wasting a high draft pick on?
We're wasting a second round pick on him.
I'm sure Juden Jones liked him. He seems to like everybody.
Hey,
I have a soft spot in my heart. But anyway, Favre doesn't like the fact that the coaching staff, A, doesn't like him, and B, he doesn't get to play. He thought when he was going to get drafted, he's going to go to, which for the Jets, if they didn't naggle all over their Browning, would have picked Brett Favre, and they just would have been, Joe Namath came back in so many awful ways.
well, that was the thing was like he was third string, but sometimes there's just like this huge gulf between second and third string where this is literally what the Atlanta Falcons coach said was he was just like, there would have to be a plane crash for me to start you. So literally what he was saying is my number one and number two string quarterbacks would have to die and then I would play you.
So here's the thing, though. He was not immediately third string. He was actually second string.
And then got dropped.
Well, he got dropped because he kept fucking up.
Yes.
He did, and he even admits this. He did himself absolutely zero favors in Atlanta because Ken Herock would ask him or he would go to Ken Herock and be like, why am I not starting? Why am I not getting my chance? And he's like, well, are you proving it in practice? And that was kind of like the end of that conversation. He was so crappy, they had to send a draft pick to San Diego to sign Billy Joe Tolliver because they had zero faith in his reliability. They literally signed someone else to drop him.
Yep.
While he was in Atlanta, which is
it
sucks. But
you brought this up before the podcast. Was he missed the team photo?
He did miss the team photo.
So when he was like literally, I was like telling my friends, I was like, "Hey, I'm on the Atlanta Falcons," and then the team photo because this is 1972. So I mean, but like, and then the team photo came out and he wasn't in it, and he was just like, I was too drunk, I got all fucked up. He had passed out at one of the team meetings.
Yeah.
And like, I don't remember if it was the head coach or the offensive coordinator was like walking closer to him, and they were like, as soon as I got like 5 feet from him, I was like, oh, this is why he's passed out.
Yeah,
I
it
could
sounds like June
smell
Jones.
Yeah, I could
Like,
smell him from here.
I get
and
it,
you're just
fuck
like,
this guy.
God damn. Yeah.
It was just a disaster season, and it was a successful season for the Falcons. This is like one of the most fun NFL teams of all time. It's the too legit to quit Hammer Falcons with fucking Rison and Dion and all of these guys. Dion's even commented about this, like they did an NFL Films thing on the 91 Falcons.
Yep.
Where he's just like, we'd see Brett in practice and be like, where the hell did that ball come from?
Well, the two things I love from his coach was he would call Brett Mississippi all the time.
Oh, I love it.
And then Brett was Brett was like, oh, I went to Southern Mississippi. And he literally was just like, I thought we drafted the guy from Mississippi. What the hell is going on? And then the other thing was he would bring Brett over and tell people that he could throw it into the third section of the stands, and he would bet them $100. And he just goes, I just knew Brett would do it because he would just throw his arm out to do it. So like literally he was like, I was doing this to injure our third string quarterback because I thought it was so funny. He's never gonna play.
I'm Jerry Glanville. Welcome to Jackass.
Yeah, no, seriously. He's gonna ride on a grocery cart and throw a fucking touchdown. He was so hated in Atlanta, or not even hated. He just wasn't ever given the opportunity to be like, hey, you actually could be a starter.
It's the worst of both worlds. No one wants to give you an opportunity, and you're literally doing nothing to change their minds.
Yes.
And by that point, I won't say they would have cut him or whatever, but the following season in 1992, obviously he doesn't. He's 0 for 4 with 2 picks. That year, which is. Congratulations.
Well, I was just going to say, first time he went in, he threw an interception. So it's that thing where the coach sees that and they're just like, oh, you just reaffirmed everything I've been saying.
Exactly. So in 92, former Jets general manager Ron Wolf takes over in Green Bay. And he's the guy, so of all of these quarterbacks who've been acquired to this point,
he's the guy
excluding Aaron Rodgers.
Yes,
but I mean, unlike Rodgers, where it's the first round, Wolf is the one doing the digging.
Yes.
And he's like Hall of Fame general manager with Oakland when they won all those Super Bowls, Tampa Bay to build them from the expansion team to like
an actual team. Yeah.
So like an experienced NFL guy is like, this Brett Favre is the bee's knees still. Like, I've had my Nagel Browninged. I want to.
But he is the guy, because this is a block of episodes, he literally is the guy that looked into all these quarterbacks and realized how good they were, and then like went out and was just like, we're going to draft this guy, Ty Detmer. Literally all of them except for Rodgers.
And they're all different. They all have different attributes, that is, I think, what's most impressive. Not like you just look at a guy for 5 seconds and go, well, oh yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously though. So he really wants Brett to come to the Packers. They trade a first-round draft pick, which I saw this fucking interview with the guy from the Falcons, the head coach.
Glanville, yeah.
Glanville. Where he was like, we were laughing at them for giving up a first-round draft pick for Brett. We were like, this drunk?
Exactly.
Literally, like this guy who was like just an absolute mess of a person, and like, to Glanville's credit, it was, or no, I'm sorry, the GM to Ron Wolf's credit, he was just like, you don't understand what you have. He is one of the best passers that we will ever see.
So like, we can shit on Atlanta all they want. And granted, they don't have the talent eye, whatever, compared to just Ron Wolf understanding it. But if you're a regular NFL team now, and someone comes up to you and says, I'm going to give you a first-round pick for your third string quarterback.
Third string, yes.
I can shit on him, but I can't really do it because and Atlanta's 10-6. They won a playoff game against the Dome Patrol.
They don't need a third string quarterback.
Billy Joe Tolliver, one of the many Billy Joes we've discussed, is your backup. He's beaten Favre out. Like, you will take that every day of the week. And Green Bay is in just a sorry state when he takes, because this is Holmgren's first year.
Yep.
So Mike Holmgren is over from the Niners.
It really is a rebuild where they're like, he's young and he still has all of this potential. That was what my thing was his arm strength is so ridiculous, and he's a little retarded. And
I mean,
hey, we don't like to say that stuff here.
Is he a South Philly rapper that we were Lil Kev? Is that
Lil Kev?
Yeah,
Lil Kev.
Do you need to ask the questions?
Oh no! He took classes in the back trailers. You know what I'm talking about?
Damn it!
No, I remember him. He was retarded.
God damn it! I love that episode.
God, that's one of my favorites. But comes over to Green Bay, and there's something about giving guys a lot of like leeway or like whatever. Just be like, we trust you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and throw the shit out of the ball, because he did not have a great start in Green Bay.
No. It was pretty crappy in Green Bay. So he gets there. He's back up to Don Majikowski, the Magic Man, for all those Heart fans out there.
I was going to say, and the Magic Man gets a little injury.
So I did want to bring this up because it's always a fun trivia question to ask. Who did Brett Favre complete his first pass to?
Oh, I got it. You think I don't got it? We got an episode on him, so check it out. It's Sterling Sharp.
You're wrong.
No?
It's Brett Favre.
Oh!
He got it batted back from Ray Seals.
I did see that. I did see that. You're right.
And
batted back and then ran for -7 yards.
But in addition to our Sterling Sharp episode and why I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, this is the beginning of Favre's career. He doesn't know what a nickel is. He's the #1 receiver, putting up 100 catches a year, where Brett always goes, well, Sterling's always open. Like...
I forgot.
He's like, I'm just going to throw to this guy.
I forgot that he literally caught because it was deflected.
Yeah.
And then he got tackled like -7. And this is what I mean. He had a horrible start to his career.
Yeah, it's just like, here we go again from Atlanta while they're laughing. Grant, the guy they picked with that Favre selection was actually one of his teammates at Southern Miss.
Oh.
Who turned out to be a gigantic draft bust. Just
that
spiderweb.
That happens. I love that.
So week 3, they're 0-2. They lost to the Falcons, or the Vikings and the Bucks. And Magic Man goes down with an ankle injury that basically just explodes it.
It's so interesting to like the series of events of like Brett Favre taking over, because he takes over in this first game.
Third game.
That's why I'm in his first game.
Yeah, his first game, yeah.
And fumbles the ball 4 times.
Oh, God. It's horrible.
And the fans of the Packers were like, Ty Detmer's on our bench.
He's probably like, I know what coach, put me in. I know what a nickel is.
Seriously, though.
Holmgren!
I imagine he was more of like, I can understand these offenses better. But Brett just had that arm strength that literally pushed him through, and like that's my biggest thing with them sticking with him, where they were like, no, we see the potential, we understand that you're nervous or you're like having a bad start, and we're just gonna keep going with you.
Mike Holmgren must, and like those coaches like Steve Mariucci, John Gruden, Marty Morningweg, Andy Reid, all those guys, like they must have had the patience of saints but I mean, specifically the guys at the beginning, like Gruden and Mariucci, like, God damn it, but that arm.
No, seriously, because they see what it could be, and they're just like, no. This is the first game. We know you're nervous. We know you're going to settle down and like do it. Gruden, I don't know why he doesn't coach anymore.
I mean, I have no idea. I'm sure him and Favre shared a lot of similar emails with similar tones.
Like we've never emailed about All right, you know what? Let's take another shot.
Let's take another shot.
Jesus Christ,
God damn.
guys.
I mean,
Gruden, American hero. Oh, shit. I'm actually going to cut this. Let's do a shot. I'm going to a show in Phoenix
Yeah.
in February. Fuck, that one hit me. I'm going to see the Killers with my girlfriend, but
Dope.
literally it's a baseball themed show.
Fun. Love it.
Jim Abbott's going to be there.
Oh, you bastard!
And I told
Oh, damn it!
because she just goes, "Do you want to see any other bands other than the Killers?" And I was like, "No, it's literally Beck and Boys to Men."
Exactly.
Like I was just like, I don't give a shit. And then I said, hold on.
Wait. Jim Abbott?
Jim Abbott's gonna be there, and I need to meet him. And she was just like, I have no idea what band he plays for.
Oh, no!
And I was just like,
God damn it. Oh.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just telling you, he's an American hero, and I need to meet him. And she was like, do you want to show up early? And I was like, yeah, I need to show up early because this is a fucking American hero.
I need to shake his hand.
The one he has.
Exactly. God damn it.
So I'm just saying that was a little excerpt from our regular lives.
Anyway, so they're down 23-17, and Brett has the ball with just over a minute to go.
Yep.
And he kept talking about, at least he knew what cover 2 was, right? Like he knew exactly what the Bengals were doing, and he knew that the Bengals weren't playing their safeties deep enough, so he knew he could fuck them up down the field, but he leads this almost Holmgren-esque like dink and dunk drive down the field and ends up throwing a game-winning touchdown pass to Kittrick Taylor to win 24-23. Did you read anything about the extra point?
No. Oh, when he was holding it.
Yes, so when he was holding
I
it.
did see that. Yes.
So he ties the game at 23
Yep.
with the touchdown pass to Taylor.
And he's supposed to be the free kick holder, and when he's holding it,
Not like Mark Brunell, who did it responsibly,
He
drinking
literally-
responsibly.
he literally was just like, I was so afraid he was going to kick my hands that if you watch that video a second before, I just go like this. Like he just performed magic.
I'm not going to lie. It was more of, is this your card?
Yes. No, literally. Winner, chicken dinner.
God
And then he just goes, I was so lucky that the ball had, because there was mud on the field, Lambeau. There was mud on the field, so it's literally stuck in the mud for like 2 seconds when he releases his hands.
Did you know if there's mud on the field, Karl Malone is interested?
Oh, my God.
damn it.
So,
No, but like the Packers
no,
kicker.
I gotta bring this up. I'm sorry. I gotta bring this up. You know who Jeff Stevens is?
Yes.
He's a really fucking great comic in our scene, and he was talking about my girlfriend being 12 years younger than me.
Oh, shit.
And he brought this up on stage, and then I went up and I was just like, dude, I'm like Kobe. Well, probably more like Karl Malone.
You son of a bitch. Oh, my God.
Probably more like Karl Malone. And
Yeah,
then
but
my
you're not-
girlfriend was just like, I didn't get that reference. And I was like,
Oh, God.
I'm going to explain it to you, and it's so bad.
There's a danger zone according to Kenny Loggins, but there's a Malone zone that even
Oh,
the
my
danger
God.
zone. Like
No.
Maverick would have been like, Goose, don't even go near the Malone zone. No. You're dying
Don't
in the
even-
regular zone. The Malone
Don't
zone
even
will
fly
envelop
into
you.
that.
You are like every normal person will die there.
Yes. If you're normal, like we are, I'm not. But you're not going to survive the Malone zone.
Absolutely no way. Anyway, he parlays that great start. How the hell did we get on that subject?
You know what? Don't worry about how we get on subjects.
I don't even know how I knew how to jump to the right
Just
spot.
barrel through, my man.
Let's barrel through. So they end up beating the Steelers the next week. I do remember this game, hearing updates at Wild Animal Park and being very sad. Brett Favre is the new starting quarterback of the fucking new Green Bay Packers.
That was the thing when the Magic Man went out and he literally showed what he could do.
That man's
it was
mullet was majestic, by the way.
Because in that first game, though, there was literally Packers fans chanting that Ty Detmer should get the start, which I almost agree with. And then you see what Brett Favre does over the next like 2 or 3 games, and you're like, no. This guy is a NFL top quarterback.
Yeah, so over the last 14 games, over 3,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 13 picks, which he's known for. But you know what? Brett Favre takes a lot of chances. A lot of illegal chances, a lot of questionable chances, but he takes chances.
I'll tell you what one of my favorite quotes was Ty Detmer talking to him about, he was just like, the passes that you throw, I wouldn't throw them.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean? He was just like, I wouldn't see that angle that it was possible. And then Brett was just like, well, if you don't throw it, they're not going to catch it. It was like literally that little like simplistic of a thing where Ty was just like, no. Like my NFL mind is like, that's a really bad throw. And he's just like, I'm going to fucking try it out.
I immediately regret this decision.
Yes.
Completely miserable, Green Bay.
Yes. Milk was a bad choice.
So, 1993, they make their first postseason since the fucking 80s in a strike-shortened year where everyone made the playoffs.
Since 82.
They go 9-7. They've added Reggie White. Listen to our free agency episode, 108, I believe. 3,303 passing yards, 19 tutties. Granted, 24 interceptions because he's taking chances.
I was going to say he was a little loose, and this kind of tightens up when we see the next, 3 years.
Yeah, but he led the NFC in passing attempts. They end up going to the playoff. The iconic game we mentioned in the Sterling Sharp episode where he's the hero. Guess who's throwing him the fucking football on that game-winning touchdown?
Ty Detmer.
Ty Detmer. No, Mark Brunell's there.
God damn it.
Shit.
He's not even there anymore.
Lefty, righty, they morphed together and just guided it down the field to Sterling Sharp. They end up winning there, though, on January 8th. Led the last-second touchdown drive. Then they played Dallas.
This is the thing I love about, there's something about 90s NFL playoffs where teams just lose against teams until they beat them and then win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's such a weird-ass thing because they lose to the Cowboys 2 or 3 years in a row.
It's pretty bad.
And this was one of them where they end up going up against the Cowboys, losing. But it's the thing that I love about sports is you're just like, ooh, but next year?
Next year.
But next year, the thing I love about sports and hate Clint. Because every single year he's like, Arizona's going to win the national championship.
And
I'm like,
swimming?
Have some fucking brevity, dude. Because you're fucking out of your mind thinking that they're going to win in football. And he's just like, this is our year, dude. I don't know if you have the faith. And I'm just like, no. I have some sort of
logic?
Reasonable, yes, expectations towards this team,
bro.
And he's just like, no, this is our year.
I remember, this is side story, 2019, all he kept talking about was, this is U of A's year. This is U of A's year.
He said it for the last 8 years.
They opened with UH at Aloha Stadium and fucking got beat. I was in LA while the game was going on doing a fucking set. And then I saw UH won and I'm just like, oh my God, poor Clint.
Oh
just
my
poor
God.
Clint.
Yep.
I felt so bad. I'm like, of course it's not your year. It's never your fucking year.
He is the redheaded stepchild of U of A. Just saying. Just saying.
So 94, a little bit of a rocky season because they're still working through it. I mean, there are probably some assistant coaches going, this Mark Brunell guy can play.
It is very much still in the rebuild where he's a younger quarterback, but they're finding their shit. They have White on defense.
They've fixed everything. And now Green Bay is a free agency destination because you're like, well, you have your shit together. You got Sterling Sharp at least through the end of this year. Good things are happening.
But people have said this, and we've said this on other episodes in this fucking block, where it's they literally are like, where's Green Bay?
Yeah.
That's what it was. And what, to Brett Favre's credit, he just goes, I'm going to put Green Bay on the map again.
He really did.
Yes.
I mean, to his credit, he really did.
Yep.
They win their last 3 games. He has 33 tutties this year. Week 16, they beat Atlanta, too, which was a nice little sweetener. He had a touchdown rush. They go into the playoffs. They beat the Lions. That was the Barry Sanders minus 3-yard game.
Oh, yeah.
So the defense really came to play for Green Bay that day.
Because they literally locked up the only thing that Detroit could do.
Dave Craig might have been 53 years old in that game.
I thought
for
he
the
was
Lions.
55.
He's
but that's
55.
all right.
I'd have to check that one. Anyway, they played Dallas again in the divisional round.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not good. Not good.
They got smoked
I
by
think
Dallas.
Brunell ended up playing out towards the end of this game. So
That's how bad it was they were like, we're putting in our backups. We're losing. It was so bad. And that was
we don't want starters hurt next year.
And that was what I was saying was like you literally see Dallas beat them 2 times in a row when Dallas was an actual football team. And
Actual.
Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
Well, no. I'm getting memories of my darkest sports memory. You know what? Let's go to something else. Let's go to something fucking else.
getting memories that I really want to block out. It was Dom at summer camp.
He ran the goddamn wrong route. Why did you throw it to his goddamn chest? Anyway.
Anyways.
They lose to the Cowboys in 94 there. And then 95, they've actually ascended because they win the NFC Central.
Yep.
At this point. They win the NFC Central. Led the NFL in passing yards that year. 38 touchdowns, 2 on the ground. MVP of the league.
And this is where we start to, when people kind of like, not talk shit on Brett Favre, but like, kind of like say shit that like he shouldn't be Hall of Fame guy. You're just like, if you look at these 3 seasons coming up, there should be no question.
Is there anyone that debates he should be in the Hall of Fame? Because that's insane. Like, I mean, granted, and we'll talk about some of these fuck-ups later and all this other stuff as far as, like, his football playing.
I just don't think...
let Joe Namath in, Brett Favre is a Hall of Famer.
I just don't think you if you didn't live through these years, you don't remember how dominant he was.
And he was. And that's the thing. And it's a credit to the coaching staff and the scouting departments and everybody who recognized this with him. This is when he started developing into
the best quarterback
Like,
in the NFL.
That's what's so brilliant about guys like Holmgren or Shanahan, where you coach guys like Young in Montana, who are, oh yeah, this is a cinch to us. Just tell me where to read it. I got it.
Yes.
But it's taking someone almost the opposite with all the physical skills and then breaking it down the opposite way. Literally, he was... To me, that was what was so amazing about researching this.
Because he was a dirty gem coming into the backers, and he was a polished gem in this season when he wins his first MVP, where you're just like, oh, yeah. He is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback right now.
Oh, obviously. That year... they end up beating the Falcons in the playoff.
And then who do they go up against?
Well, first I want to say about the Falcon game. We actually talked about it in a previous episode.
Yep.
The Eric Metcalf one. Next week they play the Niners. And this is a long-standing rivalry. And what does Brett go into San Francisco and do?
So I found this to be interesting because it's playoff with him, and it's not quite there.
It's not quite there, but they won the game.
I know, but like if you look at it, you're just like, oh yeah. They win this playoff game, but like it's not the Super Bowl, because we're about to get into it.
Well, no. They won that playoff game because San Francisco just kept turning it over time and time again, like on kickoffs deep in their own territory.
It was crazy.
Yeah. They shouldn't have won it. But then they go play Dallas.
Well, that's what I wanted to say about this game was I felt like they shouldn't have beat the 49ers, but they ended up doing it just because of like...
I'm not going to lie.
Football stuff.
I would have loved that fourth matchup between San Francisco and Dallas.
I know.
Not because Green Bay...
Not because we're pissing in helmets.
No.
I'm telling you, I would have rathered it.
No.
We're drunk.
I'm very drunk. But anyway, that would have been a good matchup. It would have been a better matchup than Green Bay because they got their asses kicked.
They really got housed by Dallas in this season. First, Brett Favre MVP season, but like in the playoffs, San Francisco, he didn't win that game. Dallas, he got pretty much housed. That was my thing, was like, you look back at this first MVP season, regular season, he was unbelievable. Playoffs, he didn't do what we expect an MVP to do.
There were finally questions now. But then again, it's better to ask those questions than like, why can't you go against Tulane? Why are you urinating on the linesman? Anyway, 1996, though, he's entering that season, and Brett's got some issues.
I'm talking 96?
Yeah, we're talking 96.
So coming, and this is what I feel like, because we've like foreshadowed his dad so many times, coming from his background, he didn't want to miss a game.
No.
And he got...
And to be fair, in 95, he almost missed games. Greg Lloyd lit his ass up in the preseason.
He should have missed games.
Yes. Like, he should have missed
games.
Multiple games.
And what we see is he gets an addiction to Viking.
The Minnesota Vikings. Oh. Are they going to come up later?
He gets an addiction to Vicodin, and it comes very apparent because he said he couldn't go through a day without taking 12 of them.
And this is when his wife is moving up there.
Oh, yeah, because...
with his kid, which he fathered in college.
Hey, we've all been there.
We've all been there.
But they're coming up to Green Bay, and they realize, and his wife said this in an interview that I watched, where
She's
she
got
was
the
like,
Mike Holmgren patience.
well, she was like,
Oh, God damn.
she was like, I moved up there, and I can tell something was wrong because he would only be sleeping like 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
So he would just be getting fucked up on Vicodin and just like watching TV all night. And then he said this, though, which I think is correct, where he was just like, I never took it before the game, but I would pop the shit out of it after the game.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all maintenance, because as we keep going through it, he's tough as balls. Like, he will stand in the pocket and just get annihilated.
Just to be clear, he hasn't missed a regular season game or a single game since he's started.
The Pittsburgh game, that was his first start,
Yeah.
where he begins this epic streak. And you would have to do that, but then again, you're like, well, do I want to be a good teammate, or do I not want my life to be fucking destroyed? And he ends up getting hooked on Vicodin.
Hey, it's a different NFL.
It's a different NFL. Concussions, everything.
So, yeah, he gets hooked on Vicodin, and he has to go to drug rehab for 46 days. This is preseason. And then he gets into the season, and he has another MVP season. That's what blows my mind, is like, I get it. Like, you're fucked up, and then you get sober, and you're going to be better. Like, I get it. We're not there.
We're not there.
But I'm just saying, like, it's crazy to me that he missed so much football time and then came back and was just, like, lights out.
Dude, it's like all Madden to rookie mode.
Oh.
You're just like, oh, wait. I don't have to vomit at halftime. I can actually look at the fucking tape with
Yes.
my offensive coordinator.
Yes.
This is fantastic.
This is amazing.
13-3 record. They almost 3,900 passing yards. Led the league in touchdown passes.
Led the
that
league.
year.
Yep.
Go to the playoffs. They beat the Niners in the divisional round. Desmond Howard had a punt return.
And then they go up against the old Panthers,
The
who are
Panthers.
so good this year.
They're awesome. They have Sam Mills and nobody else.
They might be one of the, playoff team for sure.
Playoff team for sure. But they end up beating them, and then they go to Super Bowl 31 in New Orleans, which is fun for Favre.
Which is one of the first Super Bowls they've been to, or I think the first one since they were like a dynasty team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ends up having a couple of huge touchdown passes in this game.
2 touchdowns, 1 rush.
That's right. And he doesn't win MVP?
I'll tell you what I loved. He had 1 rushing touchdown. He had 12 rushing yards.
Which is perfect.
It's so good for the, like, I love it so much. He went 14 of 27, and they end up beating the Pats 35-21 to just kill little Clint's fucking heart.
I don't even think he was born then. I really don't.
I debate his age, just to be clear.
I feel like it'd be 53.
Or 23. We don't know.
No, it's like Shaq's penis. We don't know.
Can we please get some verification on Shaq's penis and Clint's age? Please.
So the following season, they run it back. Packers run it back.
Like, legitimately, this is when the Packers were dynasty level team.
Yes. No.
They weren't a dynasty because of what happens, but give me another shot.
All right.
One more, and then I'm done.
I'm going to need to take a leak soon. Shit.
Dude, I got to fucking pee, too. Hey.
You know why? Because I'm a fucking professional.
I was just going to say that.
So anyway, they're the best team in the NFC. I mean, obviously, they kicked the shit out of the Niners in the playoffs.
Yep.
They go to the Super Bowl against the Broncos, and Brett is co-MVP this year. He shares it with Barry Sanders. Did you ever hear why that happened?
Why he shared it with Barry? No.
So there was one deciding vote that voted for somebody else. Fucking Peter King voted for Carnell Lake that year.
Oh, just
the
like a
Steelers.
non-vote?
Yeah, basically just like, so it ended up tying. He voted for him because he moved from safety to cornerback and he was their best defender.
He was
all
actually
fucking
really
year.
good, yeah.
Yeah, so he was
But
just like,
nobody
I'm gonna
votes
be different.
defense, yeah.
Basically what Peter King did was vote libertarian. But
God,
anyway,
I hate that.
Oh, God, I hate that Bob Barker.
I hate that bumper.
So they end up waltzing back to the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos, and Brett actually has a good game. He's not the reason they fucked up.
I was just going to say, this game is actually really interesting. Great game, bad finale to it, but they were one of the highest point favorites to lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So they were 11-point favorites.
Yeah,
and
because 2 weeks before, they were the fucking highest
2 weeks
underdog
before.
against the Steelers. Just throwing that out there.
I didn't think
God,
you were going
I hate those 97 Broncos.
God, I didn't think you were going to bring that up. Jesus Christ,
No.
I love it.
Chris, that is living in Denver. That is fucking emblazoned in my
I was going to say,
hatred.
and you're living in Denver at the time.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah. Oh, the anger. Just the anger. Anyway, they end up... Nobody can stop fucking Terrell Davis in this game.
No.
But-
He's just running amok.
Brett played actually really well. 256 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. You shouldn't lose the Super Bowl if your quarterback does that. Thank you.
But they lose to those beautiful orange crushes.
Strong, big, beautiful boys.
Oh my God, they're so strong and so beautiful. I don't want to really get into how strong and beautiful they are because I know I'm going to digress. But I'm just saying, and that was the thing because I'm just saying the Packers were so favored in this game that it was one of those games where you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Do you know how many people I told Green Bay's winning, fuck you, as a 10-year-old? God damn it.
I'm going to get 69 because you're fucking that kind of dude, bro.
No. It's everyone out there. God, fuck the Broncos. Just so fucking much. Oh, anyway.
So he back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back Super Bowls, where you're like,
Well,
this is
triple MVP in 2 Super Bowls, technically.
And this is what I mean, where people are saying, like, this Packers team could become a dynasty. They need one more Super Bowl. And then it just kind of drops off. But as to Super Bowls, but, like, you see a steady decline with this Packers team.
Yeah, they're getting older. Brett's still playing well, but, it's not working out for him.
It's not working out for him.
So in 98, he has a great year. Leads the NFL in completions, career high in passing yards, over 4,200, 31 tutties. They go 11-5, but that's the episode we did, the 98 Vikings.
And they lose to the 49ers.
Yes. Well, that was the TO game.
Yes.
That was Packers played well. I mean, Favre's slinging it everywhere. And,
T.O. is just... Yeah, running him off.
T.O.
But I saw something about this was the only other year that they thought he could be MVP, which I thought was interesting. But like they went out literally wild card against the 49ers, and you're like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, but that was a miracle play. I mean, that was one Hall of Famer to another.
I
where
know.
You're just like, They pulled that out of their ass, but
I
that's
know.
incredible. But that's just
I'm just saying I hate when MVPs win it and then their team goes out first round and you're just
Yeah.
like, why are we doing regular season MVPs? This is fucked up.
exactly 99. That was Holmgren's last game, by the way. In
The
Green Bay.
49er game.
Yeah,
Yes,
which
yes.
is so eerie, the irony of it. But Ray Rhodes is the head coach in 99. They missed the playoffs, though, for the first time
This
since
was
91.
An interesting playoff thing because 4 teams were 8-8.
I love this. Thank you so fucking much for
4 teams are 8-8, and what they need is they need to win their game by more than the Panthers. So they were like in a bigger point spread than them.
Yeah, point differential, yeah.
But they need the Cowboys to lose.
Which
they were-
everyone fucking wants, right?
We're not saying we're anti-Cowboys. We're saying we're pro-Indians.
Have you listened to the lead-in before?
No, stop. We're pro-Indians, guys. The baseball team.
Oh my God. You mean the Cleveland Spiders?
Dude,
We're at 99. The point differential with the playoffs and the
we're
Packers.
drunk. Oh, so we're at 99. It's 8-8, 4 different teams, and they beat the Panthers out by point differential, but the Cowboys end up winning, so it
Yeah.
nullifies it.
What a crazy NFL that was. 2000.
That must have been so fun to watch. I don't care if your team
No.
didn't get in.
There have been like single seasons in NFL history. I've watched videos on this that were based on point differential.
Yeah.
So like in 1997 when the Steelers played, well, they weren't Houston, but they were in Tennessee. They played this game where they could lose the game, but they couldn't lose it by a certain amount of points
Yes.
for playoff seeding.
Yes.
Where you'd just be like, all right, guys, let's lose.
But we'll
not
keep
by
it close.
53.
Yes.
So, like, bettors, take note of what we're doing.
Yes. Seriously, though.
2000, Mike Sherman's the new coach. No postseason again for Favre. Has over 3,800 passing yards, 20 touchdowns. They go 9-7, so it's not like they're shitty.
I was gonna say-
he's carrying the roster now. They're in that transition from the Holmgren years to just like fucking new.
But I want to say this about 99 and 2000 because it's the only years that they don't make the playoffs until he has a horrible season. But like it's literally like since he started, because I know you know this feeling of like, no, we have Brett Favre as our quarterback. We're going to make the playoffs. And these are the first 2 years that he doesn't make the playoffs as that starter.
Yeah.
And it kind of like shifts this thing. But then in the next year, he literally gets one of the biggest contracts
Yeah.
of that era where you're like, you don't see this especially now, you don't see this outside of baseball because of the.
No salary cap.
Yep.
You can just pay anyone.
So like he literally signs a 10-year deal for $100 million, which we'll bring back later.
Yes, we will.
But
no. It's almost the transition in the NFL because this is pre-Brady, right?
This is pre-Brady.
Like, the icon is Favre.
We're talking about Timmy B.
Timmy B. God, I hate that Timmy B. Anyway.
Oh, God, I hate
but,
that
like,
Tim
related
Barker.
Related to Favre, though. What did you say?
Tim Barker.
Anyway, no. It's just the before era, like where you pay quarterbacks serious coin. Like he's like all of these people should be kissing his ass right now.
Yes.
Because this is the beginning of that many numbers contract
No, he paved the road that
for that position.
that
too.
Kyler Murray, you know what I mean? Like all those guys, like Lamar Jackson, literally drive down where they're like, oh, I have a 3-year contract for $100 million. Like this was the first one to be like, yo. We have to lock him up for as long as we can lock him up for as much money as we can.
He's an icon. Nobody's figuring out about how he like got pissed drunk at his fucking brother's wedding and ignored his wife and she filed for divorce but then didn't file for divorce. Like
this is all allegedly. I'm just saying.
Allegedly
I'm on
in his
the
wife's book. Boom.
I'm on the Bart Favre train right now.
Bart Favre.
So I don't know what this guy's talking about, but like we've all ignored our wives at a wedding and tried to fuck a bridesmaid. So I don't know what you're talking
No, he
about.
came home at 8 a.m. after just a night of partying without her.
Hey, who hasn't come home at 8 a.m.?
That's a very good question. Good guy. Sweet Jesus. Anyway,
This is our American hero, is Bart Favre.
Bart Favre. That sounds
I do
so
love when they
Canadian.
mispronounce his
Bart
name
Favre.
before he was a fucking star.
Favre. Like something about Mary. Favre.
Favre.
That's how it
God,
should be in
it's so
French.
good.
Maybe you win wars without America's help. Go for it, France. Anyway, 2001, they're back on track. Like Sherman, they got what's his nuts from Seattle that we talked about in our Nebraska.
Cobain.
Well, no, we did the Nebraska episode. Amon Green. So he's toting
Yes.
the rock for the Packers. So you have like a fucking dude for a 4-year window. Like if he extended any of that, he would have been Hall of Fame.
Well,
Amon Green. Yeah.
this is because they rebuilt for like 2 years and it actually worked. Some franchises just go to shit. I'm just saying, like, they had their quarterback, they got Green, and it literally turned them. If you look at like 2002, 2003,
Yeah.
they're like legitimate contenders almost every year.
He was like just getting a little cancer stand. Randy Marsh just rolling around those balls. Like he was a fucking like stud. Like look at Christian McCaffrey. That dude was putting up receiving numbers that fucking caliber.
And then what happened?
This begins the era, though. I do want to bring up of how we talked about why Aaron Rodgers was picked. What we're going to discuss at the end of the next 4 fucking seasons is why Aaron Rodgers is picked. And his Brett is because such is life. You age every year. So 2001.
I just want to reiterate what you're saying. Through the first 10 games, he was MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Through the last 6 games, he was like looked at as like, who the fuck is this old ass dude?
Well, he's straight ass is what he is.
Yep.
In 2001, they make the wild card. They go win 12 games. Granted, they lose to the Bears. He had 32 tutties that year. In the wild card, they beat Garrison Hurst and the fucking Niners in the wild card game because they always beat the 49ers. It's like the Jets where they go to the wild card against the Jets, unless Vinny's starting.
Well, I was going to say early on, they lost to the fucking Cowboys forever. So, like, they
Yeah.
almost always beat those Niner teams, which I imagine if you're in Montana, you're just going to hate this.
So they play the divisional round against Greatest Show on Turf in Atlanta, or St. Louis, excuse me. They the other 91 Hall of Famer was in this game, Aeneas Williams.
That's awesome.
So
Just him and Williams.
and Favre in this game, and what does Favre decide to do? He throws 3 pick sixes, 2 to his buddy Aeneas. They lose 45-17, and he throws 6 interceptions.
I was going to say, I'm a little stoned. This is one of the worst playoff performances from him.
It's dog shit. No. This is rock. I won't. So like, there's a difference between rock bottom, like you're just so shitty, or like you did a shitty thing in a super important game. This is rock bottom shitty. I think 07 when we get to it is like that middle ground.
This is the year he signed his 10-year deal. So it's such a weird, I imagine, feeling in that franchise. Even though we come back 2002, 2003, great regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't even deny how good he is regular season. But like every single playoff from now, from when he literally won the Super Bowl, you're like, God damn, this guy is just unreliable.
I mean,
That's all I'm saying.
no. You're right. 2002, he's in the Pro Bowl again. Almost 3,700 passing yards, 32 touchdowns.
They went 12-4.
When Pittsburgh went into Tampa Bay in like week 15, 16 at Christmas and just annihilated them, I thought Green Bay's winning this conference because they'll get the bye. They fucked up down the stretch with Favre.
Yep.
Tampa took it from them. They played Atlanta with Michael Vick doing like awful Michael Vick things. They ended up getting their asses blasted by Atlanta in 2002.
Yep.
2003, they barely make the playoffs. I mean, they have to win all of them down the stretch.
Yep, but they're 10-6, and they're still. And this is my thing with people who support the Packers. They're like, no, we're still Super Bowl viable. This is where we're at. Like,
no, it's a Steelers delusion. Every playoff season, you're just like, this is the year.
We're gonna have to call it the Clint delusion with U of A.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it.
So sometimes we talk about spider webs. We're going to start talking about the Clint delusion.
The Clint delusion.
Where you're so confident in your team, you can't see the forest through the trees. All right.
Somewhere Mike Bibby is like, it's good, Clint. It's good.
It's just a quarter pound of weed. Why can't I bring it through? I know that's Stoudemire, but I don't care.
Doesn't matter. Chris, it's point guard you. It's point guard you.
We can interchange them.
And if you're a combo guard like Gilbert Arenas, just shoot him a smile.
God, Gilbert, why couldn't you just take that gambling loss and go home for Christmas? All right, we're getting back into our episode.
He should have entered like fucking Hans Gruber and the fucking Die Hard. Her. Oh, son of a bitch.
That was so many references on references, which I swear to God is why I love this podcast and doing it.
Chris, it's been so long and so short in the best way.
Dude, is that what every woman says about us?
So, I bet. Like, God. It's so big. Yeah.
But it's so small. You're just like, stop South Park referencing me. Oh, it's so small.
Shin Puku, man.
I understand that you were with women before. Sorry. I understand that you were with men before me. What I'm saying is stop commenting on South Park. It's crazy.
I got you.
We're drunk.
So 2003, we actually brought it up in a previous episode because of all these
now we're bringing up previous episodes.
Now we're bringing up previous episodes. They end up beating Matt Hasselbeck in the playoff game against Seattle.
Here we go.
We're going into score, and then they play Philadelphia. And
they get hosed.
Well, I don't want to say they get hosed. They get beat by the guy from the Cosby Show.
All right. All right. Now we're... Okay.
The guy from
We're
the Cosby
two comedians going to comment on the Cosby Show.
They end up losing 2003 season, January 4th. They end up losing to the Packers. No, not the Packers. The Eagles. God
Hold
damn.
on. I'm sorry. We're drunk. I want to bring up 2004. They went 10-4. And this is the state of what, because we're going to bring this back later, is that he's played so many games consecutively and he gets a concussion against the
somethings.
Thank you. But they go 10-4. I believe it's against the Eagles, but literally they put him back in the game after he had the concussion. He throws the winning touchdown pass, and he said this in the post-game interview where he was just like, I literally don't remember throwing that touchdown pass.
No, because like that was a Bud Light Real Men of Genius ad, wasn't it?
It was a different kind of NFL. This is what I'm saying. He got a concussion. He comes back in, throws a winning touchdown, and he literally was just like, I don't remember that. Can you describe it to me? And you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, this needs to be
like sheep's wool.
All right, if we're just going to start referencing everything, and it's only 2004. That's what I'm saying.
That's why I brought it up, because that movie's from 2004.
That's what I'm... God damn.
But no. That was the year his dad died, though. And he played that Monday Night Football game against the Raiders where he threw, 4 touchdowns in that game?
I have to say this, is his dad dies on a Sunday. They have a Monday night football game, and he proceeds to play his best game of his entire life.
Do you think if he sat on the bench, his dad would have belted him from heaven?
Oh, no, because he had a great game.
Well,
for not running it.
Oh, yeah.
Because-
yeah, exactly.
For
Like,
not having
he threw it 4 times into
Thank
the
you.
end zone?
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. He literally is a running coach, and his son fucked it up on the night after. So, all right. A lot of people think this is one of the most heartwarming stories ever. It technically is, football-wise.
Yes.
One of the most fucked up things a son can do to his father, because he had one of the greatest passing performances as a quarterback,
That's
and
the
his
greatest
dad
troll.
is a running his dad is a running coach. Wishbone through and through. God damn. Wow. This is a real rub into Brett Favre's father dying. I never knew this line was going to come.
He did it to spite him. He did it to spite him.
I am really rethinking my entire life right now.
2004, they win the NFC North again because they're the Packers. He has over 4,000 passing yards. Mind you, he's 35. We're not seeing a lot of this in this era. 30 touchdowns at age 35. But what they proceed to do again, where Brett is the absolute fuck up, like in the Eagles game with Brian Dawkins throwing the pick in overtime, or in 2002 just letting the Falcons run a train on him, or 2001 with 6 picks. They get embarrassed by the Vikings. Randy Moss moons the fans. It's crazy.
It wasn't popcorn. It was ass on that game.
It was ass.
2005, they are horrible.
Yeah, well, they're horrible. What happens before the regular season?
You tell me.
They fuck up so many years in a row. They say you're 36, old Dongslinger. Oh, no. We're taking Aaron Rodgers. And Brett shits the bed that first year.
I was going to say, because this is when the first talks of, because this is what this block is all about, is Brett Favre backups. This is when the first talk of like, oh, is Brett going to be replaced? Outside of literally the first game where they were like, put in Ty Detmer, that like, this is literally the first time where they're just like, we brought in this quarterback. Brett Favre's great. Icon, Super Bowl champion, 3-time MVP, but like, it's the NFL. You're 35. You have to realize that like, you have to look for the future. And Aaron Rodgers comes in and they literally go 4-12, and you have to like be like, okay, you're not going out this next year, but like literally we're looking towards the future. And it's not the years coming that we're going to talk about. It's literally this year where they're like, we have our future, which is Aaron Rodgers, which we've talked about is when they transitioned was the right time. But like, this is, I feel like the year that they were like, we have to fucking look for the future.
Oh, yeah.
If he does what he does, we're going to get into it. If he does what he does, we have to stick with our plan, which is going with Aaron Rodgers.
So the next year, Mike McCarthy's there, who passed on Aaron Rodgers in 2006. They go 8-8. They have a very young roster. He records his 400th touchdown pass September 24th that year and his 5,000th completion, NFL records.
NFL record.
Because he's an Iron Man. Leads the NFL on attempts. Only 18 touchdowns, though. And you're wondering if they could run it back. So after a very disappointing 2006, the Packers go into 2007. Started acquiring some like really good players, like a Greg Jennings. You know, you get Donald Driver on the roster. You got a good offensive line, a good defense. They have an incredible season. And Favre is 38. It's amazing.
I was just going to say 2007 because obviously they've had a couple of disappointing seasons, and then 2007 they are NFC champs again, where you're thinking as a Packers fan, you're just like, this dude is old as shit, but he is bringing it constantly.
You think about it, though. 10 years, $100 million, $10 million a year, and your quarterback is doing this at 38 towards the end of that contract. You're like, this is exactly what we wanted out of this. And they
never missed a game.
Never missed a game to this point. Never missed a game. I mean, 12-4, second seed in the NFC.
Yep.
They win the NFC North through his 421st passing touchdown this year on September 30th to break Dan Marino's record. Ray Finkel bought him a shot that night because of all the unpleasantness.
It's just such a thing where you see somebody like Brett Favre breaking this record where you know he doesn't want to hold a kick. And you know the whole thing with Dan Marino and Ray Finkel. Well, that's the thing that it's such a spider web that you guys probably don't get. But, like, this is what I mean by sports where holding a kick actually matters.
Where if Dan Marino didn't hold it at all, that kick would have been made and the Dolphins would have won the Super Bowl and 1994 would have been denied. I like that future. I like that future, Chris.
Finkel and Einhorn.
Together. So, makes the Pro Bowl this year. And, we talked about it in the Brunell episode. He's really the first guy to push over a certain limit. I think Elway was 38 when he retired. Marino was kind of about that age. Like, Favre is, charting some Timmy B territory.
I was just going to say, he's the first one to go past the 37, 38 marker, which they thought would be like literally like the cusp of what NFL quarterbacks could do. But then and this is what we've talked about in the Aaron Rodgers episode, he's like saying this is going to be his last season.
Well, he's milking it more than Rodgers, because Rodgers is just like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Favre is like, he's providing that drama, that faux everyman image he created. Like, oh, shucks, I might retire at the, like fucking Butters on South Park. Like, oh, shucks.
Oh, we're going to talk shit on Butters? But
I'm adult Butters. Like, let's be honest. I'm adult Butters.
But he definitely has this feeling or like the media, everything has this feeling for like 2 years that he's going to retire, but he doesn't retire this year.
No, he does. He doesn't retire. So 2007, they have a fantastic year, 13-3. They beat Matt Hasselbeck in the divisional round because they get the home playoff game. And then they play the New York Giants in the NFC title game. And I will tell you, that was the nail in the coffin of the games I described in the Rodgers episode.
Yep.
This was it.
Yes, you're right.
This was just like, Brett, we're going to ride this out for one more year.
And then
we're going to blaze a glory at style like Lethal Weapon 6.
And he had an interception and a fumble late that kind of like you were saying, nail in the fucking coffin of what this like team was, where they're like, we have to move on. We have the next dumb hick coming through. What are we talking about?
Well, he's not necessarily.
No, he's not at all. He's a California boy. Yeah. But that's what I thought was funny, but
California man.
Now I realize it's not. But I'm just saying, this is like literally the nail in the coffin game, like you were saying, of like the front office being like, we're going with Aaron Rodgers.
Wolf is gone and Holmgren's been gone.
Yep.
The both of them have been gone forever. Like,
we're going with this next quarterback that we put our faith in. Like they did with them.
Well, we invested in. Not like, this Brunell guy's taken 3 rounds too late.
Yep.
We're going to take him and then ship him off somewhere. This is a first-round pick. This is a guy that, like, fell to you where you're like, according to our board, now he's here. Like, we're going to play him to figure, and that's exactly what the Packers did with Jordan Love, where they just were like, he's been here 3 years.
We have to move on.
We not only that, just if he sucks, at least let's know he sucks.
Yeah. The thing about Aaron is he had this mustache, and he didn't have it at that time.
Setter.
But it was in his heart. And he had this mustache that they were like, this guy could start in any era of NFL football.
Did it light up Santa's sleigh? Because Gilbert Arenas was there?
All right. First off, Gilbert did nothing wrong. He was a U of A Wildcat hero.
Christmas.
It was the night before Christmas. God damn, I forgot that one.
I was hoping you remember it because that was one of the funniest things on this podcast. It's like, what happened the night before Christmas?
Sometimes things happen here. It's not spider webs. It's not. It's the fucking greatest thing ever. Like tonight, I'm having such a great time.
God. So anyway, in that game, he had 236 yards and 2 tutties, but he had 2 picks, including the one in overtime. To Corey Webster. Well, they had the first possession. Mind you, these are the NFL rules where you could win an overtime by just kicking a field goal.
Yes.
So he fucked it up. So in the 2008 offseason, he announces his retirement. This is the end for him March 4th in 2008.
We brought this up in the previous episode. He unretires.
Well, he unretires. So what he kind of planned to do, like what he wanted to do, because he knew they were going to go with Rodgers. Like, it's the good business decision.
Yes.
I mean, he might not know what a nickel defense is, but he kind of understands football, right?
Well, he understands the business of it, of being like, they've moved on, but like, I still am under this contract.
He basically tried to force a trade,
yes,
and he really wanted to go where like Green Bay surrogates that or West Coast offenses that he learned in Green Bay with Holmgren would go. So he really tried pushing to go to Tampa Bay with Groots, which would, Chris, could you imagine those emails?
That would have been.
I mean, like, you would just be like, I disagree with so much of this, but goddamn, you put it on something.
Yes.
Like, you did it, and I don't respect it, but I'm like, you
got
did it.
You got it.
Did it.
Yes.
Where you just be like, all right, I no longer fear death anymore. I'm like, whenever it is,
you're wearing a Nixon mask in a bank, and you're telling them, hey, I played college football. My name's Johnny Utah.
Technically, I'm in the Reagan mask and surfing the 50-year storm and just touching myself for several. Anyway, so they end up, what Brett doesn't get his trade because Green Bay was like, we own your rights.
Yes.
Like,
and there was some weird shit that happened where they like tried to buy him off essentially for like a rights deal for like $20 million.
Yeah.
Literally saying like, hey, retire, you'll get this. And then he had to appeal to the league and be like, hey, I want to be reinstated as a free agent because they're essentially not, or not even a free agent. It was like literally a player to be like traded because he wasn't like being recognized as that. And the NFL came back for them and they ended up trading him to the Jets.
They traded him to Jetropolitans where that is always my one big what if. Because Wolf keeps his job if he drafts him. Because he's already in.
In the Jets. Yes.
Yeah. O'Brien is done. Granted, this could be Favre going to New York and like creating an hilarious dumpster fire. Because,
which would be awesome.
Like, without the right coach. Granted, Bruce Caslett, West Coast offense guy after fucking Walsh, fucking Sam Weich, then Caslett. I'm not saying you would have had shitty coaching, but it's the fucking Jets.
It's the Jets.
It's the Jets. Like abandon all hope, ye who enter here. But like, it would have been just a weird sports spider web. And then the Steelers get Browning Nagel, and I'm doing Browning Nagels all over the city.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
this guy would have caught the Browning Nagel.
I would have got the Browning Nagel on my Browning Nagel. So 2008, he goes to the New York Jetropolitans, and I remember this season, obviously, for amazing reasons, but very vividly as far as the Jets. Everyone was on their cock. Like, they were 8-3. They just beat unbeaten Tennessee. Everything was great. Brett was playing well. Brett was playing fantastic. He had a torn biceps this season.
And didn't tell him.
Yeah. But then again, are you going to go, come here, Smelling Clemens, lead us to victory?
Yep.
I mean, Brett Favre's going to gut it out unless, like, maybe if there's an Aaron Rodgers there, he's probably like, can I just whack off and play duck hunt? Can I just do that?
Well, I do think it's interesting that the Aaron Rodgers line and the Brett Favre line have kind of lined up where they go to the Jets and just kind of bomb out. I'm just saying, like,
there's bombs there.
Yes, because literally Brett has this kind of season with the Jets where he had great regular season, doesn't go great. They release him and he signs with the Vikings.
And, well, that was what Green Bay didn't want to do because Brad Childress was there
and
was
sell
Andy
him.
Reid
Yes,
guy.
yes.
They were basically like, you're not going to beat us. If you fuck us over, we're going to trade you. But obviously, Brett's only going to agree to a team with a 1 to maybe max 2-year contract unless they're being like, here's more land, Brett Favre. You are just Brett Favre. You are the fucking Leo DiCaprio and Django Unchained of the 21st century. You sack. Oh, I'm going to get it.
I was thinking more Departed, but like I guess he didn't go to New England.
What did he? Oh my God!
He went to Minnesota.
What did he say? Why don't you give me some Vicodin and a fucking handgun?
Yep.
So anyway, he goes to the Vikings in 2000. Luckily for the Vikings, they had actually won the division, the NFC North, the year before with Tavares Jackson. Obviously, this is like in his prime. Switch beating Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the Adrian Peterson where like, you are a cyborg like Frank Gore, only better. This is when he's on fire. They got Sidney Rice. They got Visanthe Shenko showing his cock to Fox fucking football.
Oh, God. Those were the days.
It was a different time. Men of their... Chris...
It's not even men of their time. I'm just saying it was just a better time for football.
Can we just not be men of our time ever?
8 and 9? God.
So anyway, they're fantastic, like, in his debut season because it's, well, the team's stacked. So makes the Pro Bowl. They go 12-4. They win the NFC North. They beat the Packers twice. And he had talked about, kind of his emotions in those games.
Oh, I'm sure. Because they had essentially moved on from him to Aaron Rodgers, and
as in our last episode, A-Rod's ascending. Like,
yes,
he's ready to do some make Dom feel really sad dreams.
Yes,
like
he does ruin Dom's day from time to time.
Sad, but not blackout sad where you don't remember sad. Just
brownouts.
I was brown. Chris. Rashard Mendenhall, fuck you. I was browning out.
We were all browning out at that time.
Anyway, they go to and may I say, Brett Favre, thank you for getting your revenge in this divisional round game against the Cowboys.
Nice.
He straight, pegs the shit out of him with Sidney Rice.
Whoa. We're just saying because it was against the Buccaneers and it was Pirates.
34-3. I mean, 3 tutties to Sidney.
All right.
I mean, that was a good, 4 touchdowns total, but I mean, that's a great game.
Yeah,
I remember watching that going
at 39. That's. I remember thinking that.
So like that 2009 season, everyone was riding the cold stick, and you're like, no, they're soft. This is the end. This is garbage. Hopefully, somebody in the AFC beats them, but in the NFC, you were just like. You got AP and then Favre playing like it's 1996. Get the fuck out of here, New Orleans.
Yep.
Like honestly, like that was just what was assumed, and that would have been like an even more orgasmic story arc than Manning winning with the Broncos. It would have been Favre doing that with Minnesota, but they have to go to the Superdome. There's a bounty. There's a lot of Saints coaches doing questionable activities, which have been revealed, but I won't say on this podcast. You would think they'd have it in the bag, but Favre literally pulls a 2007.
Yep.
Like, they go into New Orleans. They have a ton of just shitty turnovers in that game. A ton of them. They end up Mark Brunell is actually on the Saints in this game, which speaks to this.
To the spider webs of what we got.
It's a back and forth game. They're tied 28-28 with 2:37. They're at their own 31. All they need is a field goal and they win the game. Favre takes them to the New Orleans 33. They get backed up due to a penalty to the 38, and on 3rd and 15, he throws a pick to Tracy Porter. Ryan Longwell, his kicker in Green Bay, was. Wouldn't you give him a shot at 56? You'd think, or where you would just throw it away if nobody was open.
Yeah,
try and force it. But that wasn't Brett Favre. They end up losing 31-28 in overtime. And then 2010, we have some interesting things that happened in 2010.
Oh, God, we're on 2010. A little, look, we've all been there.
We've all been there.
Some of us are drunk right now. And I'm just saying that in 2010, Brett Favre has some questionable text messages that go out. He comes back with the Vikings.
He has a shitty season.
And this is obviously his last season. He's like 40. But he's texting some ladies.
Well, when you're the first quarterback in NFL history to have 500 passing touchdowns and over 70,000 passing yards, you feel like you can get away with some things that not a lot of us can get away with. And
can I be honest?
It's all wrong.
He played 291 consecutive games
before he got hurt.
Can we just all agree that he can just spend one night in a La Quinta Inn as just a regular dude? You know what I mean? Like, he has this streak. Let him streak.
What kind of streak? His not Vicodin or his not alcohol after abandoning his wife?
He's not doing either of those. I don't know what you're talking about. Rehab from Vicodin, on 2010, he has some really questionable sexting going on.
Yes, he
Vikings
does. With Jen
really
Sturgeon, who, if you look it up, and by the way, his still current wife is a smoke show for her age.
Yes.
She is a fucking... Deanna Favre, thumbs up, ma'am. Way to take care of yourself. Like, legitly, fucking Wayne's World not worthy. Anyway, looks just like her. Only like 20 years younger. Wasn't that the most biggest mind fuck, right?
Hey, looks fantastic. High school sweetheart. He has some questionable text going out. I'm going to try and lay in this plane right now. We'll see how it goes. But so he retires from the NFL. He has this kind of controversy going on, and then in 2020, he has this kind of ridiculous scandal that happens.
Very ridiculous scandal.
Which is he tries to do the COVID loans for his... It's essentially a welfare scandal for it was the Mississippi's high school girls volleyball team.
Yes. Yeah. So what he ended up doing as far as this welfare scandal was embezzling money. He embezzled money, which he intended to donate to his alma mater's volleyball program, but got a little kickback from it.
We've all intended to donate to our local high school girls volleyball team, but we've been amiss.
I made the mistake of figuring a coupon book would work.
No. You need to fucking cipher money from the welfare people. And I know this is an awkward meeting of friends at the welfare store, but I'm saying when Brett Favre showed up, it must have been weird.
I really hope he wore a bicycle helmet.
And you know what? Chris, Dom, Sports Experience Podcast, we're a little banged up. We're just going to end it with Brett Favre. Brett Favre does have Parkinson's.
So what ended up happening from this lawsuit, if I can continue, they diverted $5 million to a new Southern Mississippi facility for volleyball. And in one of the texts to the governor, he said, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much? He committed, I mean, you got what I need. What you say?
When you say he's just a friend, go. Come on. You got what I need. Thank you, Brett Favre, for sidestepping so many fucking great quarterbacks to be the piece of shit that you are in life.
Toughest son of a bitch, but most disturbing. Like, I mean, it's... D, do you remember Weekend at Bernie's? Like, without the sunglasses.
Do you remember Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Yes.
So, legitimate question, do I remember Weekend at Bernie's? Yes. Kind of crazy question, do you remember Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Son of a bitch.
Because that's where we're at with Brett Favre.
Yes.
Because sexting, welfare cheat, Parkinson's.
Yeah, he was sending
We're on
pictures.
2. If you want us to make 3, Brett Favre comes back to the NFL, we'll do it. Hey, thanks for everything. Sports Experience Podcast. Dom, I love you, bud.
I love you, bud.